All right. What's good, everybody? It's your boy BQ and your boy TW checking in with
You're
another episode of the Cool Factor podcast. It's dropping a little later than we would like, so sorry, but we're trying to make those schedules happen. We do these pretty late at night, so it's pretty
no,
easy to
no,
be
no,
like,
no, 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 no. We will not apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, the dedication is real. Okay. You should be thanking us. We are going through great lengths to bring you this audio entertainment for your ass. So enjoy it.
hell yeah, enjoy it for that ass. So thanks for being here as always. Thanks for checking us out. Again, we're going to talk about some good and bad from the show. We're not going to run it down segment by segment, but there's a lot I want to talk about this particular episode because I found myself enjoying this episode a little more than the other ones, the last couple. So TW's bobbing his head back there like Muhammad Ali. I don't know what's.
You know what, man?
And I mean Parkinson's disease, Muhammad Ali, not the fighting.
You know what it is? It's all the hot takes. It's bouncing back and forth in my head. You don't know what I'm gonna say. You have no idea.
All right, cool. Let's see. Let's put that to the test. So the first thing I want to talk about here. So as we're speaking right now, well, no, Victory Road is done, but Victory Road is a big part of these last few episodes, and they've been doing these Impact Plus shows for a couple of years now, 3 years now, something like that. Very little promotion on the TV shows. And I'm always like, why not push the build some angles on TV, like do something, and they never do. And this particular show, this Victory Road, had a lot of, on these last couple of episodes, a lot of focus. They're actually promoting the Impact Plus app and building the matches on television. So I got to give props where props is due, because that's something I've been telling them to do, and now we're kind of actually seeing it. They're promoting it harder than freaking Bound for Glory, if we're being honest here. But I don't know. What do you think about that? With the way that these episodes right now have been built around Victory Road, and then not so much Bound for Glory, but
well, yeah, I think it's actually a really, cool thing. I didn't even expect Victory Road, right? Like I had no idea this was on the calendar.
right.
And so the fact that they, dropped it right in there, but they're not hot shotting to it, even though they only announced it with 2 weeks of build.
Right.
But everything that's happened in those 2 weeks has kind of been leading this way. I was just under the impression we were on a long form story train to Bound for Glory, which I'm totally okay with. But I'm also so pleasantly surprised, I guess you could say, by them dropping Victory Road right here.
So I'm gonna watch Victory Road in the morning. I just rarely watch live wrestling anymore. That's just me as a fan. I just usually on the days I'm working from home in my office here, I'll just throw the TV on and watch the show. But they did something that I was happy with. I wish they would do it on YouTube and not Twitter, which has their smallest reach. But they played the opening match on Twitter as a free preview. It was TJP, and I'm sorry, not TJP. I don't even know why I said TJP. It was Triple XL against the Rascals, I believe. I believe that was the opener. Did you know that they stayed true to form? They had technical difficulties for the first match. And I'm not one to talk shit about technical difficulties because I've been having them for years doing these podcasts. But they have been having these issues for years streaming. It seems like every time they stream one of these shows, there's some kind of problem. And sure enough, today, I guess there was lag. There was, it was freezing. It was doing all this crap. But I believe after the first match, things picked up. But, it's a guarantee when they have an Impact Plus show that you're going to see that Twitter, we apologize for the technical difficulties tweet. I mean, it's almost a guarantee.
Right.
But from what I've heard, the show was pretty good. You said you watched some of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you feel like it was just another whatever show? Or, I mean, did you – because they really did a good job of building interest this time around.
Yes. I felt like this was actually a pretty good episode of Impact. Like they just as I was watching it, I felt like everything kind of made sense. Yeah, I felt like everything was, again, doing something to progress the stories forward. Whether it was, with Rohit continuing to have people chasing him for the X Division title. I liked seeing the main event with the North going against Ace and Fulton. You know what I mean? Like I think that that was good stuff. Jordan Grace getting a win back over to Neil, I thought that was actually really good, because I was like, oh, you just can't have, you just can't keep doing this to people where they come off a run of being hot and then they just can't win a match. Like there's got to be some middle ground there.
Right.
And so I was glad Jordan got a win back over to Neil. And there was something else that I liked. The EC3 move stuff. I'm so up and down on this stuff, but it's interesting. I can't lie. It is interesting. And I feel like when they finally do come together for a match, it's going to be well worth it. And you don't have to be, wrestling. To me, this is the way to get the most out of a talent. If Impact has only signed EC3 for one match, I think the build has been excellent, in all honesty. They've done stuff on TV. They're telling you stories. You totally understand why Moose and EC3 need to fight, right? Like they haven't laid out what the specific stakes will be in the match yet, but you understand that they're having a thing and it's getting intense, right? Like you totally get that. So yeah, so this is a good show to me. You know what I mean? Your progression stories, you're moving stuff forward. They're clearly moving towards a tag team cluster F for Bound for Glory, and yeah, it was a good episode. I liked it.
So before we kind of move on to talking everything, just to rewind here with the Victory Road. From what you saw though, was that show any better than previous Impact Plus shows?
You asked about Victory Road.
I was, but that was a really good little monologue. So we're gonna roll with it. Trust me.
I'm a dummy.
You're fine.
I have not watched any of Victory Road.
Okay. I understood that you saw some of it. Okay.
No,
okay.
I haven't. I actually canceled my Impact Plus subscription because I didn't feel like it was worth my damn.
Okay, $8. That's right. Okay.
They weren't doing anything on there that was worth them giving me giving them my damn $8. Okay. That's a few trips to the mini calf while I'm at work. All right.
Yeah. I was confused. I thought you had said you'd watch some of it. So
no.
Okay.
I was talking about the Impact show from this past week. You know what I did watch though? I watched a few minutes of Explosion this week, and it was like one match. It was like Hernandez and one of the Deaners. And
you're right, like, Cody.
Yeah. This is unnecessary.
Man, a few weeks ago they were like, "Hey, we're debuting. We're not debuting, but they had Benjamin Carter and all these dudes show up." But I feel like we haven't seen any of those matches. I think people were expecting to see him on because he wrestled on. I watched him on
AEW. Like new talents were showing up.
Yeah. But we're not seeing the matches because I saw him wrestle on AEW the other day against I forgot who it was, but he was really good.
Sure Benjamin Carter is.
He was he wrestled on maybe AEW like 2 weeks ago. I guess he was trained by Seth Rollins. So now I guess Impact, AEW, and NXT all have interest in him. But it was like I think Impact had the first crack at him, but I think matches he recorded, I don't think we've seen him. So I don't. I think every time Explosion comes out, someone's like Lewis was telling me, he was expecting to see these matches pop up, but instead we're getting Hernandez, we're getting Crazy Steve, we're getting Johnny Swinger.
Right. They could be, making matches and just putting them in the bank for something later.
Yeah, very true.
They could have a special coming out of some kind. Like the people or the guy that they signed from the Gut Check, like what are they doing with him?
Yeah.
What's he up to?
Yeah, we'll see, man. I from what I saw with Gut Check, I didn't think he didn't stand out to me in any way. So I'll have to take people's word for it that he's the guy. But I think Tyler Turva was the one that I was like, dude, that guy's like made for television. And
Mm.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah.
see, man. They're just,
Yeah.
dude, breaking in new talent is not their thing, man. I think you have some exceptions
Yeah.
like Ace Austin, but
Yeah.
anytime they
Actually, you
bring
know
in,
what? I think they actually, that's one thing they've done a good job at, is getting people. I hate using English terms, like getting people over, but like think about it, right? Like who was Ace Austin, right?
yeah,
Like who was Ace Austin, right? Like they came in and they've done that with a lot of people. People knew Brian Cage from Lucha Underground, but I mean, like they really established him
yeah,
and let
yeah,
him work his way up. Tessa Blanchard, same thing. They really established her and let her work her way up. So I think, I think they actually have done a good job, getting people and like building them. It's tough when a talent is brand new,
yeah.
right?
That's
Like
what I'm
even
saying. Starting them from scratch.
right. Like that's the thing. That's the thing that I think is tough because just like you said, like there's a certain TV readiness that you have to have, right? Like you just have to have. Like we were talking before we started recording about like Private Party. I don't think Private Party is ready for TV at all. You know what I mean? Like they don't look like TV ready to me. I think their gear is terrible. I think their move set looks just super fake. You know what I mean? Like to me, that's not good TV wrestling, right? And so, but hey, what do I know, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I'm just a consumer.
Yeah,
But yeah, so like so I think that there is a certain level of TV readiness people have to have before you put them on. And I think some of those guys that were on Gut Check, they might not be great, right? But I think you got to put people on TV, let them wrestle on TV. Here's another AEW example: Britt Baker, right? Like, Britt Baker. They give Britt Baker TV time like ESPN gives LeBron James TV time.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? Like they are invested in Britt Baker, bro.
Yeah.
Invested. Like she was on TV every week while she was injured,
Yeah.
nonstop. But it's paid off. If you go back and watch AEW to when they first started like giving her the mic to try to do some heel promos to like now,
Yeah.
it's
Bad.
night and day.
Yeah.
You gotta let people work through it. That's how they get better. You know what I mean? That's how they get better. So if you got a Shogun or whatever he's got, you got to get them, they got to get on TV. That's
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The only way I feel like you're going to get better wrestling on TV is by wrestling on TV.
Right. It goes back to some of the conversations we've had that it feels like some people they just don't have any investment in. I mean, not investment, confidence in. That's what I'm looking for.
Right.
Like I'm going to use the Rascals here for an instance. We talked about them a little bit last week with this kind of same general concept. It just seems like the management and then creative are like, okay, we love that they do this like flippy shit, but we have no confidence in really presenting them as a badass tag team. They wrestled the Good Brothers here, and I could be wrong, but I felt like the Good Brothers control like 90% of this match. At no point did it seem like the Rascals were gonna pull it out. And it was similar to when Good Brothers took on Reno Scum several weeks ago. Like Good Brothers was just winning the whole match. Like they weren't squash matches, but they weren't like competitive. I just didn't feel like
we as the audience, we expect the Good Brothers to win because we know that Impact is invested in the Good Brothers, right? Like I honestly, I don't know if they're going to lose at all until they get the championships.
Probably not.
Maybe they will.
I don't think so.
We don't know how long the Machine Guns are signed for, but you know what I mean? Like maybe they will, maybe they won't. But yeah, like, so when you put them in the ring with the Rascals, right? Like the surprise would be if the Rascals win, right? And if you're not invested in building the Rascals, which I don't think they are, then then you don't give them that big win. But to me, that goes back to the philosophy that I used to hear from Paul Heyman that he would say about when he would do ECW, right? Like he would say, I'm going to bring in a big name guy from WWF or WCW, but they're going to lose to my guy. You know what I mean? Like we're going to bring in, Shane Douglas, right? But he's going to lose to Balls Mahoney because now you'll know that Balls Mahoney is on the same level as Shane Douglas, that name right? To me, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But that's just not the way Impact gets down, man. Like they are not invested in the talent that's there. They're like, I'd love to, hear them talk about what their honest, business model is. And I think it's just to try to hot shot as much attention as possible. But I think that to me, this goes back to the same thing I'm saying all the time. And I think that this is the guts of what it is to be an Impact fan is, where's our guys? You know what I mean? Like, where's our guys? The Rascals should be our guys, right? Like, no one from any other who's a fan of any other promotion can say we know these as talent from anywhere else.
Yeah. When the Rascals first showed up in Impact, I was, when I would get on, Facebook posts or whatever, people talking about wrestling, I'm like, dude, I would put the Rascals up against any tag team from another division. Like at first I was like really high on them. I was like, dude, these guys, this is the freaking future here. And it's them as a tag team and Trey as a singles. They're just like in limbo. Like they've been with the company forever and there's no progression. There's almost like a tease of progression. And even with this, like, obviously they're going to do this 4-way X Division match at Bound for Glory. And I'm like, dude, is Trey going to lose another title match? Like, it's like we're saying at the Rascals, dude. I mean, shit.
That's the thing that I hate about the X Division, that they don't like give you a story for the X Division title, right? Like when I felt like when the X Division guys were, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, you had beef between these guys, and the X Division title just happened to be what they were fighting over.
Yeah.
Today's X Division is more like, give me all your flippy wrestlers and who cares? We'll do a story because Impact does stories. Impact does the best stories out of anybody on wrestling, I think. But it's just it doesn't like just like you mentioned, Trey Miguel, a perfect example. They've given him some shots to do programs with like Ace Austin, and I thought he's maximized his opportunities to talk. Like he's a unique talent. He's very passionate when he gets the chance to get the spotlight on himself. And I'm like, yo, again, this is a guy to build on. Why not? But they just don't appear. Now he could come out of this multi-man situation with the X Division title, which I think would be great. But again, if there's no story, right? If there's no story, then why do I care, right? So if there's no story, why do I care?
When they were doing him versus Ace Austin and they involved his mother, Trey's mother, like I was like, this is great.
Yeah,
it's good shit. Right. It was great television for me. It got me really, really invested in Trey. Mm-hmm. It gave Trey some edge, and then he goes right back to like after the feud. The next episode, he went back to
silly, but he played it like I feel a real person would play. You know what I mean? It's like, some dude is trying to talk to you, not just some dude trying to talk to your mom, but some dude who is like a known sleazeball. And he's just trying to do the dirty with your moms, like, you know what I mean? Like I feel that's how like most men would react, you know what I mean? And so like you said, it was something that could have been silly, but he made it real. He added the feeling that people could relate to with that. And it opened people's eyes because here's this guy who's just been like a paper character, right? Like a no layers to the character. And you gave him a story, and he played it out really well. You know what I mean? He got people into it. So yeah, man, I thought he did a really good job with that. And you would think that they would have run with that. And that's why I was actually really, really happy, really excited when they brought him back and made him part of the 5-way for that was supposed to be for Slammiversary. And there's just been, not a lot of follow-up. You know what I mean? Like just not a lot of follow-up. Which I thought was all partially a casualty of the influx of people that came at Slammiversary. Like if they didn't have all these new storylines to get you focused on, they might have kept running with this, Trey versus Ace thing. You know what I mean? I think that was the kind of thing, like I remember in the 90s, you know, when The Rock and Austin were feuding over the Intercontinental title, like nobody had any idea that these two guys were going to go on to be, you know, the two biggest stars in the whole business.
Yeah.
Right. But it felt right.
Yeah.
When they were feuding over the Intercontinental title. And then later on, they were feuding over the world title because they had this history. And I always think that when I see two people who are at a good level at a low point on the show, right? And I'm like, man, but these guys are both good. I want to see that grow. You know what I mean? And so then if it's years down the line where they're the main event, you have a story that people are invested in, you know?
Right.
Listen, the people who run Impact, they've been doing wrestling long. They've been talking about wrestling longer than you and me have been watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for some reason, these things don't click to them.
I'll talk to you about Trey off air here because I'm not really supposed to put it out there on the platform, but I'll just put it like this: he wasn't supposed to be in that Slammiversary main event. I'll tell you why he was in it. But he was clearly eliminated very quickly. So
you
know what I mean. So
I have my ideas.
So we'll we're kind of talking about before I move on to this. So about an hour before we podcasted, I was doing taking part in the live stream on Facebook. You know how some of these companies now will be doing will bring wrestlers on and do like a live auction.
Yeah.
The Good Brothers were on this one, so I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch this."
For Impact?
No, it just as independent wrestlers. Like they had Deonna Purrazzo a couple days ago. They're gonna have Matt Cardona. Next, you know what I mean? So they bring independent guys on, and they kind of, hey, here's some of my items and stuff. People, okay, I want that, and people buy it. So they had a koozie from episode of Impact, a Good Brothers koozie for when they were drinking from an episode of Impact, and I bought it, and they signed it there on Facebook. So just little
That's
fact
cool.
that I got me some memorabilia.
Did they sign it right in front of you?
Yeah. As soon as they saw the PayPal, go through. Wrestling fans are funny, man, because they'll be like, okay, here's this signed set of draws from my match and people like there's $70 and someone's like, okay, cool. I'm like, dude, I'm not trying to spend no $60-$70 on shit. Like, I mean, I understand it's signed, so I'm gonna pay extra for whatever I purchase, but it's just funny. Like some people, some
people got the bread to blow, man. Like I see some people like Jordan Grace posts so much cool stuff. I really enjoy her content. She posts like a lot of lingerie pictures and stuff like that, and I like it. But I am a happily married man, and I plan on staying that way, so I will not be buying any of her lingerie pictures.
Right.
But if she's doing stuff that I can support, then I definitely want to do that. You know what I mean? Like I said, I go another person, Sienna, Allison Kay, right? She posts a lot of stuff, a lot of pictures I love, but I'm not gonna. I have no use for these things. I'm not going to buy her 8x10s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I can't do anything with that, and I don't feel like answering questions about it. So
I'm one of her first Patreon subscribers, one of her very first ones. I got a good pretty decent little relationship with her. But I don't buy she'll put out like cell phone backgrounds and. They're like, and I can't put that on my phone. I'll get my nuts chopped off while I sleep. So
it's like like I want to support. So if I see like like I think about that like all the time. Like I say, like I love the content Jordan Grace posts. I just can't buy any of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like, but I want to. You know what I mean? Like she's doing her part. She's entertaining me, right?
Yeah.
But I just what am I doing with that
shit? It's a cool thing. I mean, dude, they're on Facebook for an hour and a half, made a few $100. Like, can't beat that. Just sitting on your butt,
Yo, honestly, what? That's great.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if anybody out there, if you want to buy this fine shirt, I will sign it. Okay. These are some of my very own mottos up here: blood, sweat, and respect. I coined that phrase myself.
Yeah, but no, man, just wrestling fans are funny.
At the dinner table.
It's not that I don't have $60-$70 to spend on something. I just don't I don't know. Like, I just don't. If I see an item like that, I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna pay that much for it. But some people have no issue. Like, I guess
Yeah,
we're all walking different walks in life. Like, I have
yeah.
four
No,
kids, so I'm
seriously,
like, I can't. That's not smart for
lots
me
of
to do
people
that.
are. Like even like with this quarantine, right? Like, a lot of people have been like when I see like on the news, people flooding the beaches as soon as they were open and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, what's wrong with these people? But then I think about it, right? Like I'm a married man, my wife is here, my kids are here. Like I'm never alone, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm quarantined, but like what else would I be doing? But you know what I mean? But some people like live by themselves and you can only watch so much Netflix. You know what I mean? You can only watch so much X videos. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like at some point you want to get out and have contact with people. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
so yeah, man, everybody's different. People got different stuff going on in their lives. You know what I mean?
Right.
People want to buy Tennille Dashwood's ring worn gear.
Yeah, yeah. I just can't. Yeah. It's like I just bought 3 Bound for Glory shirts, that, and then a Kylie Ray shirt for my son. So it's like I
Nice.
spent like $100. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I spent $100 on several T-shirts, but I can't get myself off one like ring worn shirt
Right.
that you know what I mean.
Right. What
That's
are you
just
gonna
me.
do with
Some
that?
people,
What are you
yeah,
gonna do with that?
some people like doing that stuff, and that's cool. More power to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Some people
So
probably have like these weird collections of like, independent wrestlers gear just sitting
yeah,
around. Like Willie Mack wore these trunks at Warrior
yeah,
Wrestling.
right. They're sitting. Yeah, too funny, man. Yeah. Oh shit, dude! You know what made me laugh at this beginning of this Good Brothers Rascals match? Josh, with one of his questions, was like, "Madison Rain, do you like beer?" Dude, her response of like, "Josh, no." Dude, I think Madison does such a good job, man. Today
Yeah.
on Facebook, someone made a post on one of my groups. Oh, they need to get rid of her. She's so bad on commentary, dude. I don't think she's bad at all, personally. Like she calls him out on his stupid questions he asks. She does provide some pretty good insight on stuff. Her humor for me is pretty quick. She's pretty quick witted for me.
Right.
I wanted to go to her last independent match the other day. It was in Chicago, so it's 4.5 hours. But I was gonna go, but I emailed Warrior Wrestling, or I messaged them. I said, "Are you guys doing a meet and greet? Because if I go to an independent show, I'm gonna meet the damn wrestlers. Like that's just gonna happen." And they're like, "Oh no, we're not. It's only for the VIP packages, which is like if you bought 3 shows worth of tickets." And I'm like, "Well, I'm there for one show, so."
Right.
I was pretty disappointed because Kylie and Moose were there too, and those are 2 my son is like, I want to meet them, and I've been
Nice.
unable to deliver them so far.
Yeah, I want to party with Kylie Ray. Yo. She looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Kylie Ray looks like a lot of fun, yo. She really does.
Yeah.
Man. She really does. Like I've like I read her tweets and like she just like she talks shit. Like you know what I mean. Like she seems like just like a genuinely fun person, yo.
Yeah, man. She was an excellent signing for Impact, dude.
Yeah, she really was. She
yeah.
really was. Because she is a high quality athlete.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man.
And again, like I'm not going to go on the fat wrestler tangent right now, but it matters, yo. It matters. It matters. She looks like an athlete. When you see her in the ring, like she has good muscle tone. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm not trying to sexualize women, but like her body is in great shape. You know what I mean? Like she looks like somebody that's out there that like the person at home could aspire to be like that person on television, right? Like I remember when Steph Curry was popping, right? Like everybody was like, "Oh, Steph Curry, he makes the average person feel like they can do it." Like, yo, Steph Curry's 6'3", but because he's on TV around people who are 6'8", people think he's 5'8". You know what I mean? People think he's 5'8" and skinny, but he's not.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, America and world. Yeah. Steph Curry is a big human, right? He's bigger than you will ever be. Okay. But a lot of people, they just love this fantasy, man. They love this fantasy of like, of like people being like average. But I think the spectacular thing, the thing that makes you want to watch, is seeing somebody that looks like an athlete, right? And again, you see Kylie Ray. I can see Kylie Ray doing like all of those like fitness competitions, you know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah, man.
CrossFit games. I can see her doing anything like that. If you were to tell me that Kylie Ray was like a standout track star in college, I would believe you. You know what I mean? She looks like she could do that. And yes, like that's what you want from your wrestlers. Like, you know what I mean? You want to be like, yo, I'm watching these people who are high quality athletes do stuff. That's one of the first things that stands out about Kylie Ray when you see her. And then when you watch her wrestle, she can freaking go. She can
Right.
freaking go, man. Like when she just gets revved up and just starts rolling,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
reminds me of Daniel Bryan. You know what I mean? It's just like this frenetic series of moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just go,
yeah.
go, 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 go. I loved it when I saw it from Daniel Bryan, and I loved it when I saw it from her. It's like she's a fun wrestler to watch. I think
Yeah,
that
man.
like you know, and she's the type of wrestler that you build a division around. You know what I mean? And to their credit, they are building around.
Yeah, she's not gonna win it Bound for Glory, but
No?
I don't think so. The
Why?
only way she wins is if they know Deanna is not staying. That's the only way. If she's already like, hey, I'm gonna go join Britt in AEW,
Mm.
you know what I mean? But
That's interesting. But it does very much feel like Deanna's here for a limited time. I feel like Deanna is totally just like waiting for that contract offer to come over from AEW, and then she's going to be out. She's going to give her notice. But you know what? Even so, if that's the case, they're getting good TV out of her. And I saw
yeah,
something on Twitter that Deanna Purrazzo was canceling some independent bookings so to make sure that she can make Bound for Glory. And
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what?
That's professional. Yeah,
That endeared her to me, because
yeah,
that's like you're sacrificing a payday on your own, you know what I mean,
yeah,
to make sure that you can deliver for the promotion that is putting you on right now. And like, I totally respect that. And I feel like that's the respect that I don't see people giving to Impact Wrestling. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's the respect that I feel like I don't see wrestlers giving to Impact Wrestling, right? Like I talked before about how, you know, like Brian Cage tweeted the picture with all the champions from like Bound for Glory 2018, and it felt very like he was very smugly suggesting that there was a problem with Impact, that most of these champions were not there anymore. And that just seems to be a common theme. And I'm not saying that, listen, if Impact management is not doing a good job hanging on the talent, which they're not, that's them, right? But the reality is that fans view the promotion as kind of their own, you know? And so it's like when wrestlers are like, yo, this promotion is whack, you're like dissing the fans too. Unfortunately, that's not fair, but that's the way fans take it. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So, so like I said, I feel like the fact that I see Deanna Purrazzo putting off other bookings to make sure she can deliver at Bound for Glory, she definitely gets my respect for that. Totally gets my respect for that.
Yep, and she's been a great champion. I like her and Kimberly quite a bit together. Like
Yeah.
that works. The only knockouts on her aren't in a team right now. Well, Tennille isn't, but she says she doesn't want to be. And then I feel like Jordan and Alicia will hook up at some point because they were supposed to tag up in the Lethal Lockdown before that got canceled. She was. I mean, it was 4-on-4. You know,
That'd be
supposed
like
to.
Jordan just carrying the whole thing.
Yeah, I
I know
know.
you love Alicia,
Oh
but
my god, yeah, yeah, dude. Just like you say with like Jordan Grace, like man, to me, Alicia's so hot, dude. But yeah, man. You know, talking about these knockouts, tag team championships or tag teams. You know, we were talking about before. Are these titles really going to come back? Like, what the hell? Like, it seems like they're. For me, it seems like I don't want to say the interest is gone because everyone wants to see him. Most people want to see him come back, but it just seemed like there was this momentum, and then there was the time to pull the trigger, and they did it, and now it's like, you know, like I feel like they missed the opportunity. But now we're starting to get knockouts tag team matches again. But shout out to Pat. He was telling me this on Facebook on Messenger. Kiera and Tasha Steelz have wrestled every tag. It seems like they've had a program with every single tag team. I mean, what else? It just seems like they're just running through the feuds before this championship's involved. So it's now I'm kind of like, dude, I don't know that you can even.
You know, I see where you're going with that, but I think a little bit the opposite. I think that let's establish that there are tag teams and that these tag teams can have good matches. Like, let's establish that there is a tag team division rather than putting titles out there and then we have to get to know these tag teams. Let's get to know the tag teams and then let's put some titles out there. So I mean, you know, they could pull it out at Bound for Glory, but I feel like we're already on the road to Bound for Glory. I say, they came in and attacked after the Rosemary, Taya versus Havoc and Nevaeh match, right?
Yeah.
So why not do like a triple threat tag team match between the 6 of them at Bound for Glory, right? And hopefully it's a great match, right? And then coming out of that, you know, maybe, you know, they generate some buzz, and then maybe on the following Impact, you can announce we're doing tag team titles and they'll be at the next pay-per-view. So then between now and the next pay-per-view, there can be like a tournament, right? And that'll give all your knockouts something to do, right? So, you know, let's just say that we're going to do like, you can, there's ways to do things, right? Like you can announce something one week, right? Then like preview it the next week, right? Then do some like preliminary beef the following week, you know? Then do some sort of like matches where you're having one person from each tag team. Like there's a lot of ways to do it, man. There's a lot. So like, I think they could definitely, you know, what is it? Basically like 12 weeks in between show. Is it really? Is that long? It's about like 8 to 12 weeks between each show, right? Each super card pay-per-view, right? So like, yeah, I mean, like, why not, right? Why not? I would say give us a good knockouts tag team match at Bound for Glory, something really good to showcase the knockouts, and then maybe coming off Impact, you make a big announcement, create some buzz that we're going to do women's tag team championships, and then you just like slowly build to it, you know what I mean? And then do it at the pay-per-view, crown the champions at the pay-per-view. I think that's a good way to space it out.
Yeah, man. And I was thinking too, before they announced Katie Forbes was gone, Katie Forbes would have worked with Tenille as a tag team with Tenille's new gimmick. You know what I mean? With the new gimmick, like anyway,
like trashy and classy.
Yeah. But both kind of doing the Instagram because, you know, Katie Forbes does that too. She's more the OnlyFans. She's the OnlyFans, you know what I'm saying? But
my new website.
Yeah. Hey, $3.99. Oh, Katie. So as far as what you're saying, I don't know how much you watch. No, you watch NWA, right?
I haven't watched a lot of it. I've only seen like clips. I've seen a few clips on YouTube. I watch a lot of the promo stuff they do. I really enjoy the promo stuff they do.
Yeah, it's excellent.
I saw Melina came back and she was thick, and I was happy about that.
So their last pay-per-view, I actually had tickets to the Crockett Cup pay-per-view in Georgia, but you know, got canceled with COVID.
You're gonna fly down to Georgia for that?
You know, I was in Mississippi for some Air Force training, and I was 4 hours away or something like that.
Okay, yeah,
from you know what I mean. So that's why I was like, I'm just gonna, you know, take a car ride on the weekend. But so my point was the last NWA pay-per-view, they announced the return of the TV title. You know, they had Wade Barrett, Stu Barrett, Bennett, whatever. And you know, he unveiled it, and he's like, was it the TV title he was showing? Yeah, because there was a tournament. So the next pay-per-view, so it was 2 pay-per-views ago. The next pay-per-view ended up being a tournament, but they at the pay-per-view just created buzz, boom, like, hey, this title is showing up.
Right.
And over the next course, you know, leading up into the next pay-per-view.
Right.
Because they actually were promoting the next pay-per-view, already saying there's going to be a tournament at that pay-per-view. Yeah. We're going to do qualifying matches leading up to it. And all of a sudden, it just momentum, boom. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like something that I think they miss between Slammiversary and Bound for Glory. Like how do you there's always a lot of buzz up to Slammiversary and then it dies down. Like how do you I'm not really asking, but I'm just saying how do you how do you take that Slammiversary buzz and bring it out to Bound for Glory? You know what I mean? Maybe they
Right.
do that this time. Maybe they're like, hey, the Knockouts tag team titles are returning at
Yeah.
whatever they have in January.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
I think
you're
that'd be
right.
interesting.
I mean, it does. It feels often like they kind of blow their load at Slammiversary, and which is fine, right? Because it's over the summer, and that's a great time to have your biggest show. But then don't tell us Bound for Glory is the biggest show. You know, like don't tell us
Right.
Bound for Glory is supposed to be the biggest show. I loved the Bound for Glory series. I wish they would bring that back. I really like that. I learned like a year or two ago that it was just a ripoff of the G1, but I didn't know that because I wasn't watching New Japan. But who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? I don't care, right? Like round robin tournament style wrestling where people get points, you know, for submission wins or disqualification or whatever. Like I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
It makes things matter, right? Like that's what you're trying to do on every episode, right? That's why you don't need Brian Myers to bump into Tommy Dreamer in the hallway and make a feud out of it. You know what I mean? Like, give us stuff that matters, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so that the Bound for Glory series is a way to give you, God, I think they stretched it out over like 2 or 3 months when they were doing it before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Speaking of Impact, I wish they would upload the shows from the Spike TV era. You know what I mean? The 09 to 2014, that was the best to me. That was the best era of Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I wish they would upload that stuff. Like the Bound for Glory series, I enjoyed that. I really did, man. I really did. Like it was so good, and I don't understand why they don't do that anymore. Like who cares if they say you're biting off New Japan? Who cares?
Yeah.
What in wrestling is original? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what in wrestling is new? Nothing. So who cares?
Bringing up Brian Myers, though, I do got to say when Tommy started attacking him backstage, he's like, "Oh, Tommy, be professional." Yeah. I love that like now it's like he's the most professional wrestler, but now he's also telling people to be professional. I think that's funny. You remember they brought back the Bound for Glory series. It wasn't the series, but it was like this watered down tournament where it was like EC3 won it. There was like Mike Bennett and Matt Hardy, but all it was like a regular tournament.
Was it? I
thought they called it
kill all
series.
that time on Destination America?
No, it was on Pop.
Okay,
no. To kill the time on Destination America, they did the
World Title Series.
Yeah.
And this was a bunch of and there was no rhyme or reason to any of it.
No,
that was when they were driving people away, man.
Yeah, man. They had the knockouts. The knockouts were competing in it too.
Yeah. It was clear. It was clear. They were like, yo, we got to put together, you know, X amount of weeks of TV. So just get in here. Let's tape these matches and we'll figure out the rest later.
And what's funny is that the fans I talk about this all the time, the disconnect between Impact and the fans.
Mm-hmm.
The fans had no clue what was going on that whole time. The Impact Zone fans, I thought there was like a tournament type of thing going on. No clue.
Right.
And it was the same with the Grand Championship tournament.
Yeah.
Where they didn't even explain the rules or anything to the crowd. They just motherfuckers also showed up and started doing these rounds, and like the first round goes to, and they're like, you know,
I guess.
Yeah. I was dude. A funny story too. I was in the house I brought this up before the night that Eddie won the world title. I was there.
Yeah.
But on that same episode, they introduced Team X Gold or whatever. It was like oh my God. You remember that, right? It was like Marche Rocket and teaming up with these dudes against Team Go for Broke or whatever the fuck, and they won all the matches. So, dude, it was so funny. So that night, Billy Corgan was said, "All right, everyone has a match. All the champions tonight have a match tonight, except DJZ. You got he says except DJ Z because he was the X Division champion, and he goes, because tonight is the debut of Team X Gold. He does that to the crowd, and the crowd is dead. Like, they have no idea what he's talking about.
Cricket.
And then they did a match where it was like, Marche and Trevor Lee and Andrew Everett again. Dude, and people are like, what is going on here? Like, I'm hoping they're better now, but dude, when I was in Impact Zone, man, they didn't communicate anything to people. You didn't know if something was a number one contenders match.
Yeah.
You had no clue. So I talk about this a lot. My longtime listeners know. I'm at this episode, and Grado has a ladder match with not Robbie E.
Oh my God!
It wasn't Robbie E. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the next segment. He had with Eli Drake. I'm sorry for a contract or something. Grado was trying to win a contract, and that's when Jesse Goddard was with Eli Drake. So Jesse Goddard comes, trying to pull him off the ladder, and like, I'm not joking. 20 minutes later, Jesse came out as part of the returning bromans, dude, because they split it up between multiple episodes, and people were like, "What is going on here, dude?" Like,
oh yes, the life of a TNA fan. Oh my God, we deserve a medal. Okay,
yeah, man,
we deserve a medal.
But I'm telling those stories. But my whole point was they have come up with ideas. And that's what I've always liked with prior to Anthem coming in. That when there's still the TNA days, even Billy Corgan, even with the fucking Grand Championship, like, I always like that, man. At least they're having some kind of original ideas. They've done stupid shit like the reverse battle royal. I was never big on Feast or Fired. It was okay, but at least they tried to come up with. I remember the Knockouts did when Tara had the tarantula was in one of the boxes, and then there was a Knockouts title match in one of the boxes. Yeah, I mean, just dude, random ass shit, man. But at least they just tried to, do something, man. Another one was the Joker's Wild. That's when they would draw random tag team partners out of a.
Oh my God! I feel like every
it was so bad, but it was
of that.
Yeah,
the Lethal Lottery. Battle Bowl.
Oh, those are the days, man. I like that shit, though. But the Joker's Wild was always so bad. And I'm like, dude, this has the potential to be so cool. Yeah. Like the Wolves teamed up 3 years out of the row, it's 3 years in a row randomly and shit like that. Nice. It was, oh man, awful. But yeah, I'm kind of rabbit trailing here, but I'm going back to what you're saying, Bound for Glory series, something, dude, something like to get it, invested in, so that, I mean, dude, Bound for Glory is in 3 weeks, and they've announced 3 matches. So, which is fine if you want to do like a slow build, but at least, doing something like the Bound for Glory series, at least that would give us something to, enjoy up to it.
Yeah. I also, again, I like the idea of stuff that builds that builds to stuff. Like, for as much as, so WWE is often on cruise control, which is why they are hemorrhaging viewers. Right, like Monday Night Raw is at its lowest viewership of all time. Like in the year-over-year ratings, it's as bad as it's ever been. It's actually worse than it's ever been. It's its lowest all-time ratings. And even before the pandemic, they realized they had something special in what's now come to be known as WrestleMania season, which is from the Royal Rumble, which is usually in mid to late January, up until WrestleMania, which is usually in early April, late March to early April, right? Like, it matters. Your fan base with money is planning to fly from all over the world into wherever to watch WrestleMania, right? And so that's when they make all their money. That's when they not anymore anyway, but anyway. But the point is that had become to be the time where the storyline mattered, right? And they would give us doo-doo from May until January. Give us crap. But you just knew from January to April, this is when it gets.
They're gonna hit the gas,
like it became established that you win the Royal Rumble, you go on to WrestleMania, right? And so that made the Royal Rumble matter. And then that made the weeks leading up to WrestleMania matter. You know what I mean? And then obviously WrestleMania is what mattered. And so that in and of itself makes the shows matter. You just got to put things together. And so like Impact has always done the gauntlet match really well.
Yes.
I've always thought they should do the gauntlet match as a centerpiece of one of their pay-per-views. And like, I don't care if people think it's a ripoff of the Royal Rumble. Again, who cares? Who cares, right? The point is, give us something that matters, right? So at one pay-per-view, have the main event be an 8-person or 6-person gauntlet match.
Yeah.
And the winner of that gets a title shot at the next pay-per-view, right? And so then that can give you 3 months of storytelling of this match. And it just, there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. That's how you make a money match, right? Like, you put the pressure on these people that they need to deliver, because we've been telling people how big and important and great this match is going to be for 3 months, right? Like, do that. But don't give us crap for 2 months and 2 weeks, and then give us 2 weeks to be invested in a story. Like, that's stupid. You could make me invested in a match between Alicia and Johnny Bravo if you tell me a good story. You know what I mean?
Right.
Tell me a story arc, right? We're here to have stories told to us. Tell me a story. It was a training day. Tell me a story. Entertain me with your bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
so speaking of Johnny Bravo, this whole angle with him, I kind of like his side of it, where he's like serious and, he's always entertaining to me. But what was not entertaining was Falaba versus Johnny Swinger.
The swing man, daddy.
He's growing on me a little bit. I mean, I despise this dude for the longest time. He's starting to grow him out. Now I'm seeing the humor in him, especially since they backed him off. Like, it seemed like he was in like 3 or 4 segments of show before, and that was like infuriating me. I do like how they incorporated Johnny Bravo's. Oh, didn't you see what happened? I like he called him an idiot, and he's like, I'm standing right here. The camera zooms or pans, and he's the Brandon Soler standing right there. But the match itself, dude, like it was like such a waste of time watching for me, because it was like, you knew it was going to be a super quick match. Mm-hmm. So it was like a Wrestle House match. I think it was supposed to be a Wrestle House match. It was just not at Wrestle House,
Yes.
I won't say I hate the storyline, because I like anything Johnny Bravo does. And, of course, Alicia's involved, so I like it. And Impact seems to do a good job with weddings. So I wouldn't say I'm not interested to see where it goes, man. But this, like, I don't want to see these kind of matches, dude. Like, Falaba versus Johnny Swinger. Like, Falaba's another one that we're going to give you a little bit comedy.
Right.
But
and again, Falaba, right? Like, he's a guy, look at all that weight he lost.
Yeah,
right? Like, he's a good wrestler, man. He's a good wrestler. Excuse me. It's all about what you want to do with him, right? Like, what do you want to do? Are you going to do anything with him? Falaba is a guy that, if you just invest in him, like, he can be like a credible threat. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man.
They have a lot of guys who look like they could be a credible threat if you just invest in them, and they don't. They just don't. They have their guys that they're gonna promote, and it's like that's that. Like, again, like the Good Brothers and certain guys, certain girls are gonna get promoted, and it's like the rest of them are just there, like, filling time. Falaba could be doing more.
Yeah,
he could do more, but they don't want to do more with them. So you get matches like that. You get the guys trying to maintain their Wrestle House. You know what I mean? Like, their little buzz, their little recognition, the little bit of character building they got done in Wrestle House. They're just trying to stick with that because they don't have any other plans for these guys.
Right. Austin Aries, it was saying, after they had that really good match, you remember when talking about where Falaba challenge for the world title?
Yes.
And it was an excellent match. I remember I was sitting with all three of my I have 4 kids, with 3 of my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they were so invested in this match. I hadn't seen them invested in a match like that. And, I knew, Falaba wasn't going to win, but they're younger. They didn't. So they were super. And I keep wanting to say Ace Austin, but Austin Aries, when he was doing that little interview with Killer Cross, he was like, that was my idea to have Falaba, have this match with me and for us to get 20 minutes or whatever we got.
Right.
He's like, why didn't the next week he have some kind of momentum off that match?
Right.
Right. And he didn't.
Right.
So that's crazy.
Exactly.
I thought the pairing of him and TJP too was like,
I thought it was a great pairing.
Yeah.
A great pairing.
Yeah.
A great pairing. Like, so it's funny. Impact, their show is based around storytelling, and they do great storytelling. Yeah. I think Impact has the best stories of anybody in wrestling. But sometimes you just got to let people cook, man. If you got people that can cook, let them cook. You know what I mean? TJP can cook. Falaba can cook. Let them cook. Now, again, this is not to say the same thing as WWE, where they're like, yo, if WWE does something good once, they're going to do it 5 times. You know what I mean? They're going to be like, who's this guy? Seth Rollins can wrestle? Yo, Seth Rollins, you're doing a gauntlet match every week for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so, don't do that. Right. But again, TJP, like, he can wrestle so many styles. Put him out there and let him wrestle. Falaba can wrestle more than you think. Honestly, you could give Falaba a manager right now. Have him stop talking and become a monster heel. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right now. You could do it right now because he can wrestle. He's been doing independence for years. I first saw Falaba on it was some promotion out of Jersey, and I don't know how they got any type of, I don't know if I saw them on the internet, if they had some sort of weird TV time, but I saw him on this small promotion out of Jersey, and yeah, I mean, like, so I've seen this guy wrestle for years, and he can go, he can go, especially, which is so impressive for his, for his shape, and all of that, you know what I mean, and again. We were talking earlier, my fat wrestler rant, right? Falaba is a great example. He's certainly not a bodybuilder, but his shape makes sense, right? Yeah, it makes sense to what he is. Like, Falaba was out there at like 400 pounds, but he was using it with like the sumo fighter style gimmick. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It made sense, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Falaba, again, he's a guy that can work, but they just, they don't see a star in him, apparently. Right. They see like a good hand in him, and so they use him as such. So, it is what it is.
Talking about TJP, so they do this backstage segment, and again, I'm going to go on this rant. I'm so sick of the fucking music in the backgrounds of these interviews. God,
you just feel like your eyes closed. You're like thinking about it.
God, I hate it. I hate it so much. I can stand it when Josh and Madison are talking, but there was a point where I'm going to get to my point here in a second. Mm-hmm. Josh and Madison were talking, and the music was so loud. I messaged someone at Impact, and it's like, dude, do you know how loud that fucking music is there? Yeah, we heard it. I was like, dude, how does that make it past editing? Like you couldn't hear them. And thank God this music is better than the last theme. Oh my God, made my eardrums bleed. But dude, it has to fit the mood. And when someone's trying to conduct a serious interview or maybe a funny interview, but you have the same music, like, you shouldn't have music at all for a backstage interview. Like just let them tell the story with their words, and that's it. Don't. That music they play in the background of EC3 stuff. dark,
Mist.
ominous tones. Like, God, dude, that's fucking sucks. I hate that. Anyway, man, they're doing a backstage with Mean Gia, who's getting a lot better with the backstage interviews. And Rohit's always a good promo. He's allowed to show himself. But dude, TJP walks out and he was just like on another level. Even though he was just, hey man, I want to do the beat Rohit challenge. Like he wasn't like, let me tell you something, brother. You know, he wasn't like a pumped up, hulked up wrestler. You know, like dude, we're gonna. He was just talking like a normal dude. Hey, trying to do this beat Rohit thing, and he's like, no, you already had your chance. Like I like the whole back and forth, but my point was, man, TJP just feel like he's just on another level. His matches are so good and different. They're not just flippy, but he's just the submission stuff he's doing. It's like, I think you were saying this a week or two ago, man. Like, God, you would just think they would do something like big with him.
Yeah,
and you know, it's maybe because he's not really. Maybe he's on a you know paper appearance or something like that. But I mean, he's been around for a while, dude. So he's
maybe he needs to go back to WWE. That's what it is. He needs to go back to WWE and then resign
and then
with
come
Impact.
back.
Then they'll make him the world champion.
Yeah,
and come back to Impact, but don't sign a contract.
Yeah,
come back to Impact. Go WWE. Curse everybody out. Make news. Then come back to Impact and don't sign a contract. You'll be the world champion in 3 weeks.
Remember he showed up and he beat Ace Austin, who was undefeated.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. See, still got that fresh WWE shine on you.
Yeah. So you would think it just screams, we're gonna do something with this dude. He was the cruiserweight champion, the first ever one, right? And then he won the the tournament. But just dude, he comes out there and he just starts talking, and it just feels big. Like, and I noticed that with the Good Brothers too. I thought their segment was super funny, by the way. The guys with their fake laughing wasn't funny, but dude, I thought their segment was really good. But when the Good Brothers come out, I just feel the show feels so much bigger to me.
Does it really?
For them, yeah. I mean, for them, and like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm watching a small wrestling show. Like I feel not potential, but I just still feel this star aura in them when they come out.
I'm not there yet, man.
No,
I'm not there yet, and I feel like so I feel like they are like leaning off of their reputation, but I don't think that they are respecting the fact that they don't have a reputation with everybody. Like, I feel like they're still leaning off of their reputation with New Japan and ROH. And so when I first started paying attention to ROH when AJ Styles went there.
Okay.
Right? When AJ Styles, left Impact, was doing a free agent thing, did some ROH, ended up in New Japan as part of the Bullet Club. And I was like, oh, this Bullet Club thing looks kind of dope. It looks pretty cool. And then when I started noticing like the Young Bucks and like, to me, I just always hate is a strong word, but I just was never into the Young Bucks because I was never into the whole like playing wrestler thing. You know what I mean? And that's what the Young Bucks kind of, people are like, oh, they're meta. Like, they're not meta. They're playing. Anyway, whatever. So I was just not into the whole Young Bucks thing. So that made the Bullet Club a little corny to me, where I had liked it before. And then it just kind of became a little like, it just felt like a little like commercialized, like corny, like this is for the underground nerds. Right. And, so like, so it was like, yeah. So Gallows and Anderson had this, reputation that carried over from there. And then they came to WWE along with AJ Styles. They, gave the okie doke to Impact, which was a smart move that they did because, they were supposed to show up for that Destination America era.
Right.
And, but anyway, so they had this reputation, which is cool, but like, if we're being honest, they never did anything big in WWE.
No.
And everybody's supposed to be jacked about them showing up in Impact, which is, cool, I guess, right? But like, my thing is like, okay, you're in Impact now. And I feel like you need to be working extra hard. And I feel like they're just kind of, resting on their laurels, but I'm like, what laurels? Because I don't know these laurels. You know what I mean? Like, what laurels? People, but there are plenty of people who think they're cool. I remember when they first showed up and I was watching the Total Nonstop Impact. I was watching their Twitch broadcast, and the woman on the show, she was saying how I don't get it. What's the big deal about these two guys? And then one of the guys on the show was explaining like, no, they're really cool. And I was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't say no, they're cool. Like, don't convince me they're cool. Be cool. Show me that you're cool. Make me think you're cool. Don't tell me I'm supposed to just accept that they're cool off your cosign. They're supposed to show me that they're cool, and they have not yet shown me that they're cool. Like, I get it. Like, I get the thing. They're like, oh, brother, every time they show, like, backstage, they're, joking around, entertaining people to joke. I get it. It's part of their thing. But to me, as of now, when I watch Impact, they're giving me Booker T vibes. And when I say Booker T vibes, I mean, if you have heard Booker T talk about his time in Impact Wrestling, he openly talks about the fact that he was just there to collect a check. He was basically like, using it. I mean, using is a funny word. I mean, like, they, in a working relationship, you're using each other. But like, he admits that he was not there, like, putting in his full effort. Like, he basically treated it like a joke a lot of time.
Right.
And again, as fans of the promotion, that's not what you want to hear. And I'm getting a little bit of those vibes from Anderson and Gallows, right? Like, they're there to hawk their beer. They're there to hawk their podcast. And I'm not seeing, like, the ring work or anything, and again, part of that is on the production staff, right? Like, you got to make me feel like these guys are a big deal, but I don't like the idea that I'm just supposed to feel like these guys are a big deal.
Okay, fair enough. I guess for me, they just feel. It's like when
but
you
do
see
feel like they're a big deal. You do feel like they're a big deal.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but it's like when they have the match against the Rascals, it's like it's what I was saying earlier. Like, you don't see a scenario where the Rascals can beat them.
Right.
To me, they still feel like they're a notch above. But I can understand where you're coming from, though. That makes a lot of sense. So.
No, but what you're saying is a little bit different, because, like, you'd have to be oblivious to not know that they're treated like a big deal,
right?
Like, they're treated like, you understand if they're treated like a big deal and the Rascals are not, that the team that's treated like a big deal, the act that's treated like a big deal, that's who you expect to win, right? Like, it is what it is. That's why, like, if you talk about all the time how you don't even watch WWE, but you can go through the card and pick out who's going to win.
Right.
Because who's considered a big deal and who's not. You know what I mean? I remember a couple of years ago at WrestleMania, I had one of those, like, pick'em sheets, right? And this was the year they did Charlotte Flair versus Asuka, and Asuka was coming off this, like, year-long
she was hot,
in NXT. And my wife's like, yeah, Charlotte's gonna win. And I'm like, no, but Asuka's been undefeated for like a year.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, but like, that's Charlotte. And then Charlotte won, and I'm like, but Asuka was undefeated. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It is like, it's funny, but part of that again is like, that's the job of the story, is to make me buy in, like, make me stop looking at the obvious and get caught up in the story, right?
Yeah. I remember Tenille having some really good, had a really good feud with Asuka, and that's where I started getting really excited about her. And then she had injuries.
Yeah.
And then I saw her in Ring of Honor a little bit. I'm like, okay, cool. And then she came to Impact, and I'm super excited about her. And now I love her. I told her we're going to talk Tenille every single podcast. This gimmick is the greatest thing in the world, man. But I don't even want to talk about her this time. I want to talk about Caleb with a K. I love that he even corrected Tenille, where she's like, Caleb. He goes, with a K. As he's backing up because she's mad. It's like, dude, There was a point. There was a part where, and he probably didn't even mean for it to come out on TV, man. But Tennille goes for the cover, and he's like, "That was 3. That was like 4."
Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, I thought that was so funny, man. And it had me.
Actually, I thought about you when I saw that.
Yeah. And it had me thinking too. I remember him coming to Impact. He debuted. He signed to the company, shows up like 8 months later, finally makes his debut as a random participant in a 5-way X Division match. You know, he was just this white meat baby face type of dude. Never did shit with him. And then they pair him up with Trevor Lee, and he starts being a little more interesting, but he's still kind of a comedy character, still loses every single time he wrestles. And then watch him in NWA, and he still would lose in NWA, but I was like, dude, they presented him seriously, like a serious competitor, so he just came off so much better. But now he's back to Impact, and he's playing a comedy role, but it just works, man. Like, I just seen so much growth with him from when he showed up at Impact, when he showed up at TNA,
right,
till now. I mean, his like character growth trajectory is amazing.
Yeah.
He provides a good like kind of mouthpiece too, because you don't want Tennille talking too much.
You
know. The more...
You know what? I think that I think it's good. You know, Caleb with a K is he's again one of those people that, you know, he's gotten so much time doing so much stuff that he's like had to develop. Like, I believe he's probably one of those guys that goes home and like works on his character in the mirror. You know, and like they have it, which is good because they have him doing something different every week, right? Yeah. Like, oh, we need a suicide this week. We need, you know, a manager for somebody else this week. You know what I mean? Like, we need a referee. You know what I mean? And I'm sure he's probably done all those things, right? He's a great utility player, but you know, a lot of times those are the best guys. And when you're a show like Impact, where everyone needs to maximize the minutes they get on screen, you know what I mean? Like, those guys get a chance to shine through. So like, yeah, you're seeing it. Like, you know, Caleb with a K, he's doing a great job. Like, you know, he's got a good, you know, a good little, a good character, good role, a good gimmick. And, you know, this is a fun thing that people want to see. And he's a good, important part of the act. And yeah, you know, so good for him.
Yeah, man, I love it. You know who his girlfriend is, right?
No, who's his girlfriend?
Chris Statlander.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's funny. She did. She made one Impact appearance on Twitch.
Did
and
she?
Yeah, it was a triple threat against, I want to say Tessa. Maybe Madison was in it.
Okay.
No, Allie was. I think Allie might have been in it, but it was a triple threat. She was a complete afterthought in the match because it was when they were partnering with the indie promotions. They partnered with one out of North Carolina.
Yeah.
You know,
they treated her like such a big deal on AEW, and I just didn't see it. Not like, you know, no diss. I just didn't. I was like, again, you can make somebody seem like a big deal, right? But I mean, you can talk about somebody a lot and present them as a big deal, but it's still on them to really come across as a big deal. And I just didn't. Yeah. I never quite got that with her. And see, AEW has that problem with a lot of people. Like I feel like AEW gets a lot of people and they're like, yo, just come in here and do your indie shtick. And some people it works and some people it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like I'm not quite sure what her thing is, right? Like, she's an alien and she boops people on the nose, which is cool, but like, don't try to sell me that this is a big deal. Like this is comedy. This is a comedy character. You know what I mean? And not even a comedy character can be good, but like, again, it's like, this is supposed to be the wrestling promotion. Like, AEW is supposed to be the super wrestling promotion, right? Like, it's supposed to be big time ROH, right? Yeah. If ROH and New Japan had a baby and got it on TNT, right? Like, that's what AEW is supposed to be. And so, you know, so again, like, I think AEW has too many people that aren't ready for TV on TV. Too many. You can have some people that aren't ready for TV on TV, and they'll develop, right? Like were we offline? We had the Britt Baker conversation. You know what I mean? But like,
No.
oh, we're okay. But yeah, like so yeah. I mean, you can have some people that aren't ready for TV, but you can't have too many. And I think AEW has too many people that are not ready for TV.
We actually love some Britt Baker in this household.
I tweeted, one of my guilty pleasures watching AEW is when Britt Baker comes out. I love saying DMD.
Yeah.
It's fun to me.
Yeah, my girlfriend has a Brit t-shirt.
Nice.
Her the role model one.
Nice.
ROLO.
Yeah. You know what's one of the funny things about Britt Baker? She's a pretty girl, but she makes such ugly faces, and that's like it's like a weird thing that like I can't explain it. You know what I mean? Like she makes a lot of funny faces. You know what I mean? Like she's clearly like she's not a bad looking woman, but it's her faces. You know what I mean? She makes like when she got her nose busted and she's all right.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like a weird charm, you know what I mean?
And that brings me to a point. By the way, Rebel does really good work for her. I always liked Rebel. That kind of brings me to a point that I want to see Impact do better with. I thought the Tommy Dreamer and Brian Myers segment was good to promote their shirts without promoting it.
Mm-hmm.
But my point is, you bring up the Britt Baker thing.
Mm-hmm.
When she broke her nose,
mm-hmm.
they had a T-shirt out the next day with her broken nose on it, and it was it became the highest selling shirt for a week or whatever. And then if you think about Chris Jericho with the Demo God with the bubbly, my point is they do a good job of taking a gimmick that was hot on TV for a second and turning it into a shirt,
like literally a second.
Yeah, and I want to see Impact do better with that. I think they're, I got the vibe a little bit with again, when I'm watching Dreamer and Brian Myers, I felt like they did a good job of promoting their shirts there. I don't know why that stood out to me, but it just did. But then, the Heath for Impact thing, that's a good, okay, I got a little gimmick. We're going to do a hashtag. We're going to make a shirt. But everyone else's shirt is just like a shirt. It's hey, here's the new whoever shirt, and it's just random design, but it doesn't tie into anything going on television. Like, how come Moose doesn't have maybe he does, and I maybe haven't seen it. Why doesn't he have a Wrestling God shirt?
Right. Well, because they don't believe in Moose at all, bro. Like, I mean, no, that's not fair. That's not fair because I say that because I think that with as much as Moose has knocked out of the park everything they've given him for, I would say, the last 2 years, I would think he'd be like more featured, but he's not, And like, to me, people can say whatever they want to, right? Like if the company thought he was a face of the company, they'd make him the face of the company. You know what I mean? And like, it's kind of like fitting and cool and okay that they gave him this TNA heavyweight title thing, because it kind of says exactly what I'm saying, which is like, you're really good, but we're not our champion. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm not a huge fan of that, but it is what it is, right? Like, just like you said, Moose called himself a wrestling god. And by the way, he gets you into these things, right? He started calling himself Mr. Impact Wrestling. You started thinking of that whenever you see him, right? He called himself a wrestling god. You're thinking of that, like, whenever you see him. And so, right, like if it was AEW, the T-shirt would be out the next day.
Right. I mean, why does the Moose have Mr. Impact Wrestling shirt? Like, I just really want to see them like capitalize off, a storyline. When Sammy Callahan hit Eddie Edwards with the bat, why wasn't there a shirt out the next week?
Right. He put one out right now. Callahan with a bat, and it just says like "oops" on it, right? Like
something, dude. Like,
yeah.
I mean, he did put one out on Pro Wrestling Tees, and then Eddie Eddie put one out on Pro Wrestling Tees in response to it. So I thought that was good marketing on
But
their
I
end.
didn't know about that. Why did I not know about that? You know what I mean? Like it's Impact, man. It's Impact. It's like, you know, I'm a Jets fan, right? So I think all the time about Jets draft blunders, and like in the draft where the Jets drafted, I want to say it was Jamal Adams. There were some good players in that draft. I'm trying to think. Patrick Mahomes was one. Oh yes. Deshaun Watson was another one. Oh yes. Yeah, and so they thought they needed a safety when there were two, generational talents at quarterback just sitting there. But then I also think to myself, I'm like, look, if the Jets drafted these players, they wouldn't be the players they are because they'd be on the Jets. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's the same thing, right? Like, if Chris Jericho was on Impact Wrestling and called himself the Demo God, they wouldn't do a T-shirt. You know what I mean? They wouldn't do a T-shirt. Like, part of that is just the AEW. They have that part of the game figured out, right?
Yeah.
And Impact is just, I wonder sometimes how invested ownership is in a lot of these things. Like, I wouldn't say they're necessarily asleep at the wheel, but it's just like a lot of stuff that clearly like AEW has figured out. Impact's not on that yet.
Right. And a lot of it is stuff I've been pointing out stuff for years, like do this, and then I see another company do it. And I'm like, ah,
yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if they have full-time people in positions to make those type of decisions. You know what I mean? Like, they finally hired up, a cutting edge production staff. But for a long time, they just kind of felt like they were kind of just piecing stuff together. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you can do stuff, you know what I mean? Like, you can find people that are, looking for experience and are talented, and you can get them to help you do certain things, whether it's marketing or sales or whatever, right? Like, you don't have to necessarily have the highest paying positions in the industry, right? But come up with some system where you find out ways to get talented people in to do stuff for you. I feel like they have like Josh Matthews wearing 1,000 hats, or at least like I feel like that's like been the case. I feel like
killing them,
for a long time, the only people that were like full-time staff were like Callis and D'Amore and like Josh Matthews handling like everything else. And then they have like whoever was like talent relations, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like it was I felt like, without knowing anything about the Impact Wrestling organizational structure, I'd be willing to bet that it was at least a very bare bones structure, because all these things we're talking about are things people get paid to do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you can tell by Twitter and Facebook, the terminology, it's the same terminology Josh uses in his commentary. So yeah, I feel like he's probably behind a lot of those posts, probably not all of them, but you nailed it. These are things you would pay people to figure out and pay people to do. Yeah. And when you see them not happening, that's craziness.
Because nobody's getting paid to do them.
I made a comment on Twitter. Someone got real mad at me and unfollowed me, called me a wanker or something like that. But I retweeted I know we're talking a lot of AEW today. I retweeted an AEW image on the day of the pay-per-view. They said, it's the day of All Out or whatever the last one was. Everything's 30% off in the store today. And I tweeted, I'm like, why don't we see these kind of deals like with Impact? Like, it's one thing to be like, hey, it's 20% off for Memorial Day. Everybody's doing that. Like, Bound for Glory, that's your day. So how can we maximize that? And granted, you're selling a bunch of brown, someone responded, oh, they do a, Slammiversary shirt. And I said, that's not what I'm saying though. Like, I get having a specified shirt, but where's the creative deals to say, hey, today's Bound for Glory Day. This is, maybe we're not going to put the Bound for Glory shirts on sale because that's what we've been pushing the last couple of weeks, and we don't want to piss off people who paid full price. But all the other shirts are now 20, 25%.
Right. No. I totally get that. You're right. Because when people are involved, they want to, like, people want to get a t-shirt, I was at X event, or like, or like God, what's the last t-shirt I bought? I think the last shirt I bought was Kofi Mania. When they did the Kofi Mania, I was like, yo, I have to, you know what I mean? I was like, yo, I have to commemorate this. Like, I have to have something from this. You know what I mean? People that want to celebrate, they want to celebrate. And
Yeah.
you got to make ways for them. Like, some people are like, yo, I want to celebrate, but I don't want to pay whatever that shirt costs. So nudge them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're right. This is like, you know, again, you know, and all it does is make you more money. You know what I mean? All it does is make you more money. Like, push more t-shirts. Yo, I get so many emails. I get every day. No, at least 3 times a week. There's an email from WWE Shop in my inbox. At least 3 times a week. 10% off on belts. 10% off on t-shirts. Buy one get one hats. You know what I mean? Like, something. You know what I mean? Like, just put, yo, I never get emails from Impact. Never.
Right,
never.
I remember.
I never get emails from Impact about, you know, what's Jordan Grace going to do tonight? You know what I mean? Like, you know, again, but again, if the person who's in charge of that is Josh Matthews, and he's also in charge of the social media, he's also got to, you know, do other stuff, you know what I mean? Like, but again, look.
It's impossible. Yeah, it's impossible if you have too many hats to.
Anthem is not a broke company. They're not. They just bought a damn TV network. Okay, like they're not broke, right? If you want better, then do better, right? You gotta hire some people to make these things look better.
Yeah. I think the last year I was still pretty hardcore with WWE was 2015, 14, something like that. And I used to order a lot of merchandise. But I couldn't help myself, man, because every single Monday, I think it was, like the day of Raw, they would have some kind of sale. And, you know, 1 week it was 10%, and then the next week was 20. But the 10% was site. It was always unique. Like, it might be 10, but it was site wide. 20 was certain amount of shirts. The next week it's like, hey, it's free shipping today.
Right.
They had so many different ways of almost delivering the same information.
Yeah. Because you never know what's going to hit home. You know what I mean?
And then there was right.
Some people are like, yo, I love this stuff. I just don't want to pay for shipping.
Exactly. And on TV, they would have a little segment saying, hey, this week's sale. I don't know if they do anymore, but they would say this week's sale is boom. And dude, I ordering weekly. And, you know, and a lot of the marketing books I've read and stuff like that, people will see $9.99. I'll give a better example, $99.99, and think that's less than $100.
Right.
Some people, you know what I mean. So that's the whole reason stuff is $9.99, $98. There's also a way, I can't remember exactly, man. It was in one book I was reading where they said if something is over X amount of dollars and there's a sale, they'll say it's 50. So let's say television's $300. They're gonna say, okay, these TVs are now $100 off.
Right.
They'll use the actual dollar amount.
Yeah.
Because if you say, hey, it's 10% off, that doesn't sound like anything when you're buying a high dollar item.
Right.
But when you're buying a smaller item, you know, CDs are 10% off. Oh shit. Right. And that's really nothing. It's $1.60. You know, but if you say it's $1.60 off, I'm not gonna, because I don't care. So it's all in the wording. It's all in, you know what I mean? So gosh, I could talk about this.
I get people.
But yeah, this is random, dude, but these Hernandez segments with the money. At least put $100 bill on the outside of it.
Yeah.
Or something. I mean, he put that down the other day, and it was a $10 bill on the outside. And
my buddy, who he just got into watching Impact. This was a few weeks ago. He was like, you know, I'm so many people's only friend that watches Impact. So if somebody is catching it, I'm the person they'll reach out to like automatically, right? And so my buddy was watching some Impact stuff because the Slammiversary build was like catching his attention. And so whenever he's watching, I can tell because we have like a WhatsApp chat, and he'll just start like texting stuff. Yo, Katie Forbes looks crazy. But no, you know what I mean? I can tell he's watching the show. And one time he texted like, "Why are Rhino and Why are Rhino and Hernandez fighting over $20?"
What's funniest too is that they're presenting this wad of cash that it was enough that like who hired Reno Scum? Was it Hernandez?
Yes.
Okay. There's apparently so much money in there that Hernandez is going to get paid and Reno Scum's going to get paid, and everyone's going to be really happy with those amounts. And I'm just like, you. And there was one day where he paid both of them, and he must have put like 5 bills in each of their hands. And I'm like, dude, unless those are hundreds, man, like keep them coming. You know, like you just had me, do this and this, like.
Right, like how do you like pay them and they're still fighting over the money?
Yeah. Because I mean,
they gotta find some way to make this take a turn. This gotta.
Yeah, dude. This is a really odd way to keep Hernandez on television, though.
Yes.
And not involve him in anything else going on.
No. Whatever.
I feel like they had bigger plans for him, but I feel with the TNA show not happening and No Place Like Home and stuff I feel like there was this because they tried to make him a big deal for a second. They put him in the world title tournament. Oh, I hated that tournament. But they put him in there. I was like, what is he doing in there? But
you're right, though, right? With as much storytelling as they do, they fail to make anybody really feel like a big deal.
Yeah.
As much as they do tell good stories, they fail to make anybody feel like a big deal. I would say that's one thing that I think is a flaw that Impact has. Like, there's not a person that I feel like I need to see if Impact is coming to my town. You know, like I don't feel like I need to go to Impact to see any one person.
Right.
But other than that, I feel like, like, no, but seriously, it's not like, like I like a lot of their talents, but they don't make them feel like a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, going back to AEW, right? Like they've made Cody feel like such a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They've made him feel like a big deal, like someone you have to see. Obviously on WWE, Roman Reigns, right? They've made him feel like a big deal. There's nobody in Impact. That's not to say there's nobody great in Impact.
Right, or deserving of that, yeah.
Good, right? But there's nobody who they're like, yo, this is the person who you have to see. Not Eric Young, not Eddie Edwards, not Moose, not EC3, not anybody. They haven't made anybody feel like that.
I feel like with Rich Swan, there was an opportunity before he got hurt. I feel like there was a good trajectory going up for him. But you're right. There's not like a real must see dude. They love that term must see. I hate it. But yeah, I would love to see that, man. It's like the Eric Young and Rich Swan match. I think they're doing a good job of building it. I love what they're doing with Eric Young. These segments where he's like talking to himself and all that. I think they're freaking excellent, Yeah. So they're doing a great job with the build, but yeah, do either of the guys feel like, must see huge main event stars? No, but they're doing a good job with it though. I liked the Rich Swan segment showing him working out because we talked about this about a month ago. It would behoove Rich Swan to show up at Bound for Glory in the best shape of his career.
Right.
Like, you're off TV for several months. So I would, dude, if he came back and he had some bulk to him, or some definition, dude, I think with new music, he's got to have new music, dude. He can't come out Bound for Glory dancing. He can't. He's got to come out with just a complete different. Like he's been so serious on television right now.
Yeah.
Every time he gets like, you can't have him, doing this shit and with the glasses, dude. You can't.
It's been a little bit hard for me to warm up to Rich Swan. There was a story, a domestic case with him and his wife. That was, like right actually before he came to Impact.
Right.
Or it's like, I think it was like why he got released from WWE.
Yeah.
And this is before I knew anything about Su Yung or anything like that. And I'm just like fundamentally, that's a trigger for me. And so like, so it's been tough for me to like warm up to Rich Swann, but as far as, wrestling storytelling goes, they've done a really good job with this. They have done a really good job with this. And the workout scenes, they make sense, right? And like, Rich Swann's not a body guy, right? So like,
yeah,
the idea of seeing him doing workouts, it's not like, it was different. Remember years ago when they did the things with like, they would show Lashley in the gym working out and training. It's like, yes, you get that, right? Because that's chisel, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like with Rich Swann not being like a physique guy, right? Like he's not somebody who you typically would think you're going to see in the gym working out, but with him rehabbing the injury, right? Like it makes sense. And there's something about showing people training for a fight that just resonates. It just makes sense. This is what you would do if you were going to have a championship fight. You would train. So a training sequence, with somebody who's preparing for a championship fight makes all the sense in the world. Like you've done all you need to do to an extent to tell us that this person is preparing for this big fight. This fight is a big deal. And this person is preparing as such, right? That all makes sense. So yeah, I love seeing the Rich Swann workout stuff. They have the doctor there, basically telling them that, he's looking like he's in great shape. He didn't like say the words "you're cleared" or say the words like "I approve you wrestling." He didn't say anything, no specific language like that. But they definitely showed us that his doctor, was approving of like his rehab and everything.
Yeah.
So like again, that's all the story you need to tell right now, right? Is that Rich Swann has the match. We know he was in a cast, and we see that he's working his way back, right? Like that's good enough for now. You have advanced the story. So yeah, so I like that.
Would you say that? I sound like Josh Matthews there. Would you say that Taya Valkyrie's the tallest knockout? Dude, this fool said Taya's getting her ass kicked in this tag team match. Like, I think that. Would you say that Taya Valkyrie needs to make a tag right now? Like, yes, of course she does.
Well,
she's getting her ass handed to her.
Was not in her face. She might do better.
Oh man. I'm this question asking style of commentary drives me insane. Anyway, would you say that it's beneficial for the Moose EC3 feud and the Eric Young Rich Swann feud to keep the way that they've been pretty much keeping Eric Young and EC3 out of the ring, especially EC3?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think that, because when we grew up as kids, you didn't see the big guys on TV often. You didn't see the champions on TV. Like, it was a real special, I get that. I feel like that's where they're going with it a little bit. I like it. So, I mean, do you think that that's beneficial for these feuds?
100%. Yo, listen, this makes total sense to me. And this is why, fair or not, like Eddie Edwards' title reign felt like a dud, because when you put the world champ on TV every week to wrestle, what's the attraction? Like what's special about seeing this world champ on TV every single week? And I think that with EC3 and Moose, they're doing this so good, right? Again, like I said, you understand why they need to fight. You already get it. Nothing else needs to happen, but stuff is still happening. You know what I mean? So when they finally get in the ring, it's going to be long awaited, much overdue. And I just hope they deliver. That's one thing about this, this current taping schedule that is a little bit tough, I feel, because these wrestlers don't get to work together as often as you would like, so that when the pay-per-view match comes up, that they're seasoned in working together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was Slammiversary when they had the Knockouts Gauntlet match or Battle Royal or whatever, and it was very sloppy. And that was a shame because I was very excited for that match.
No,
And
yeah.
going into that, I was excited about Kylie Ray. I was excited about like Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan, and I was excited to see all of them together. But it came out very sloppy. That's no disrespect to the work they put in, but a lot of times it is what it is, right? Like it's a show. There's no, you can't like cut, if you're going for a clothesline and I'm going for a body slam, it's not going to look right,
Yeah.
So, and there was a lot of that. So I'm hoping that somehow EC3 and Moose can find a way, maybe get some time to work on it privately, so that when they get the match, they can deliver a good match. But I think that you signed EC3. He was almost in some ways the main event of Slammiversary, right? Like him showing his logo as the show went off the air. That was like the big piece of buzz to attract people to going forward. And you're going to get one match out of him, and it's going to be a money match. It's going to be a money match. And I think this is well done. I'm 100% for this. I think that more matches could benefit from this type of, there's a chase. There's no actual touching each other. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there has been a little bit, like EC3 beat up Moose one time. Well, he stuck him, and then he stole the title. But there's been very little contact and a lot of build. And so, if you can get a match out of this, maybe two, you know what I mean? I think this is great. I think this is a great use of storytelling. Like, we're here for the entertainment, right? Like, we don't need 2 hours of bloodbaths each and every week, right? We're here for the stories. Tell me a story. And then when it's funny because like I've started thinking to myself, like, okay, I've supported a lot of Impact pay-per-views that didn't deserve my dollar. And I say they didn't deserve my dollar in the sense of they didn't have a lot of great build. I just like felt this want to support the promotion. But there's a few, right? There's a few where they've had a really good build. Slammiversary was a really good build. Bound for Glory has not been a great build, but I do really want to see this EC3 Moose match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do want to see how this is going to go. And so if in some ways, they are earning my dollar, again, that's the payoff to whatever you're paying EC3.
Yeah. It does work. And I remember prior to Anthem, they were very good about guys not touching a whole lot before pay-per-views. There was a Slammiversary, man. It was the one where, I mean, it was like the Tribunal versus Grado and Shira,
what was even the Tribunal? What was that?
That was the they were in NXT, they were the French team.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But my whole point, that particular pay-per-view, I think with the exception of Eli Drake and Bram, because it was a rematch for the King of the Mountain title, I remember, because it was my early days of podcasting, that entire card, no one touched each other up to Slammiversary. The whole everyone on that card.
Nice.
So I think I love to see pay-per-views like that. Like when you see right now where, Tenille fighting Jordan Grace every single week, and the tag teams, they're mixing it up, and these X Division guys have already mixed it up several times. Like, it's you just know what's coming a little bit. Like you're already seeing some of it.
Right. It's like how much more can you do?
Right. So I'm not a big fan of that. You brought up Eddie being on, defending the title every week. They did that for two reasons. Number one, because they didn't have Tessa and Cage weren't necessarily fighting champions, and and then also because Cody was doing the open challenge, which was very good, done very well. And this was not the same. No. Especially because with Eddie, they gave away a lot of main event caliber matches. really versus Sammy Callahan, dude. Like, there's so much.
That should exactly so much backstory, so much backstory.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Like that. Come on, man. Like, and again, I think that you did nobody a service by doing that. Nobody was done a service by doing that. Like
nobody. Yeah,
you didn't make Eddie look better. You didn't make Sammy look better. And again, Sammy's another guy. Sammy's an impact guy, man. Sammy feels like an impact guy. He should feel like a bigger deal. A match between Sammy Callahan and Eddie Edwards should feel like a big deal. It should be something that every Impact fan pulls up a chair for. You know, that should be something that everybody's got to see because, you know, Eddie's come a long way ever since Sammy hit him with the eye in the bat with the bat in the eye. You know what I mean? That could have been the end of Eddie's career. Sammy was the world champ, but only for a short time. This is, you know what I mean? So much story, so much story, and they gave us none of that. And it's like, even if you were building up to EY getting the title back, like, what's wrong with doing something else good in the meantime?
yeah.
You know, again, like, you know, sometimes Impact makes them tough to root for. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, again, something like that. Again, I say it again 100 times. Maybe I should make shirts that says, "Where's our guys?" Yo?
Yeah.
Where's our guys, man?
Yeah, that's a good idea. There's one more thing I want to talk about. We're gonna wrap this up. This is a long podcast for us today.
Yeah.
Eddie Edwards. You're talking about Eddie, so let's talk about this. You didn't know last week that he got attacked after the show.
I did not.
So I think the problem is you display the credits. This is an Avengers Endgame, dude, where you know something's going to happen after the credits. They have the, you know, Impact going off the air, and people shut it off. But at the end, what happened was Eddie was going out that exit, the one exit that they show like 50 times an episode where Heath's always trying to get in, and they're going out the exit, and the lights went out or something like that. It just, or he stepped outside, and there's like, you know, someone clearly jumps him. So this week it's been revealed that it's Ken Shamrock. You know,
oh my God. Okay, yeah, go.
We should have talked about this at the top of the show. Shit.
Yeah.
But I had to put a tweet out, you know, seeing if there's anyone else that wanted to criticize me for believing the Bound for Glory card that leaked out. There clearly is the card. It's weird because they had Sammy doing this babyface thing for a little bit, and maybe it was off to throw you off the scent, you know, whatever. He's clearly back in the heel role. And you know, when they teamed up as a babyface tag team, Sammy and what the fuck?
Shamrock.
And Shamrock. Remember, there was a segment where he was like, dude, what the hell? You know, and he goes, you know what, you're right. He like agreed with him, and then Shamrock disappeared. So obviously he came back, you know, a new man. And the story kind of makes sense, you know, if you know, as random as Ken Shamrock versus Eddie Edwards looked on paper, the story that ended up playing out on TV made a lot of sense. I still have zero interest in the match just because I haven't enjoyed Shamrock's matches to just to be honest. I every match he's had at a pay-per-view, I'm just like, dude, not feeling it. But you know, I like anything Eddie does, so I can get away with it. But I know, what'd you think about this though?
My first thought was the card is coming to fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah, my second thought is, who leaks a card? Why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? Why? Whoever does that, why would you do that? Like, why are you leaking the card? Why would you do that? Because there was nothing. A lot of this stuff was like, you know, some of it was like, okay, we can see how you get here. Some of it was like, this is one that you had no idea how you would get here. And when we saw it, it was like, oh, okay, that's where this is going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, the storytelling makes sense. This is where you have to give Impact credit. Is there's not a hole in this story. There's not like a flaw in this story. You just tied together the scene previously from before Shamrock disappeared off TV, where he was realizing that his game was not up to the par, up to par. And so it makes sense that now he's coming back together with Sami Callihan with an edge to
Yeah.
try and, get his groove back or whatever. That all makes sense. Still don't want to see it, but it makes sense. It does make sense. And again, it's just like, to whoever thought it was a good idea to leak the card, like, why? What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? I don't understand. Like, what do you get out of that? That, there's nothing for anybody. Well, it gave us something to talk about, but like,
right.
I don't know. It's just, that wasn't a good idea. I remember when years ago, going up to the WrestleMania in Orlando, it had leaked that they were going to do John Cena and Nikki Bella against The Miz and Maurice.
I remember.
And I was like, yo, there is no way I want to see this. Get out of here. But damn it, they went on TV and had, Miz and Cena do some work shoot stuff that felt personal. And they had they even had Maurice and Nikki Bella do some work shoot stuff that felt personal. Mm-hmm. And by the time they got to Orlando, I wanted to see the match. Now, what happened in the match was exactly what I thought was going to happen when I first saw it on paper. It was nothing I wanted to see, but they did their job. They sold me on it. They made me want to see it. They made me feel like Miz is a giant wuss and John Cena will punch him in the face if he steps out of line. I was like, yo, this is great. Give me this. And again, even though but so this goes to the thing that wrestling fans that we all need to do, which is sometimes just let the stories play out, right? Let the stories play out. Because by telling us months ahead of time that we're going to get Eddie Edwards and Ken Shamrock, we're like, ew, you know what I mean? So, so just tell us the story and then let me see if I want to see it. Shamrock might do something despicable to Eddie over the course of the next couple of weeks that makes us really want to see them in the ring together.
Because I'll say I did want to see the Moose versus Shamrock match because what Moose was doing leading up to that was amazing. Mm-hmm. So the match was bad, but I had interest in the build for it. So maybe they do that. What are the chances of us getting at some point? I don't think it'll be before Bound for Glory. What's the chances of us getting Shamrock and Sami Callihan versus Eddie Edwards and Tommy Dreamer?
Oh,
it's coming.
Oh,
Push the Tommy Dreamer button. Do we want to get someone else in a main event slot, try to get them over, or Dreamer?
Oh, why? Oh,
yeah, it's definitely coming. I'm even gonna say it'll be in December at the. I think they're doing another Impact Plus show, and I think they announced one for December or November or something like that.
Oh man, God.
I forgot what city it's because I thought they. I'm willing to bet by the next pay-per-view we get that match.
Here's a question: how long do you think Impact's going to go before they get fans back?
I don't know. We're watching Auburn play versus Georgia today, and
Auburn got washed.
Yeah, destroyed. But there were quite a bit of fans there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like people are trending towards a direction. I know the NFL hit or miss. MLB didn't do anything. Obviously, NBA did the bubble. I feel like we're trending that direction. I would say I really think whatever pay-per-view they do in January, it's time to look at it. I feel like the world's trending that direction a little bit. Not a full, but, I would say the rest of the year that they're going to – whatever taping they do, I'm willing to bet after Bound for Glory they do a set of tapings that probably takes us through the end of the year.
Yeah, I plugged you into some conversations I was having earlier this week, with someone who's very plugged in with Impact and was very gracious enough to answer some questions for me. The feeling apparently amongst, people in the know is that it's just not worth it for them to, to travel and produce television to have, 200 fans in attendance. And I totally get that. I totally get that. I don't know. It's just like selfishly. But so here's my thing. My thing that I would be concerned about is the talent, right? Like I think, but I don't know. I think that for one, the talent wants to work, right? Like the people are out doing indie shows right now. You know what I mean? I'm seeing it on everybody's Twitter. People are out doing indie shows right now. They're doing them in parks. And so
Yeah.
I can't see, if talent is out doing indie shows in parks, then I can't see them having a problem with being wrestling on television, in front of some people, in front of a few people. I think Impact just has to figure it out. It's tough because we're coming up on winter time here in America, and right? Like, I mean, it's not going to be outside wrestling weather.
Right.
But there's ways to pull it off, right? Like to me, I think amphitheaters are something that seems like they could be an option. For those who don't know, Daly's Place, where they tape Dynamite, is an amphitheater. Obviously, AEW gets that for free because the person who owns their organization owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. That Daly's Place is attached to the stadium where the Jaguars play.
Yeah.
So, they own all that, right? So if you're Impact and you wanted to go, perform at some, let's say, amphitheater in Alabama where people are, just coming out, or Florida, right, where people just don't care about their own lives. So like, but if you're Impact, you have to travel to Florida, right? You got to pay production and set up all of that. So it makes sense, right? But the idea, I think if you're going to do that, if you're Impact, you got to let in a full house or as close to a full house. Otherwise, it's not worth your, it's not worth your time. Financially, it's not worth your time. You're taking a loss. There was another press pass this week with Tennille Dashwood, and there was a lot more European media on the line. And it just reinforced what I believe, which is that, Impact has a good following. They have an audience, over in the UK, and they need to bring back that UK tour. I don't know where they stand right now in terms of battling COVID, recovering from COVID, quarantining from COVID. I don't know where they stand in terms of that. But Impact needs to find some way, man. They need to find some way to get the show in front of fans. It's just, the show in an empty setting is just like, I don't know. I've gotten used to it. And it's not like the Impact crowds were the loudest thing anyway.
Right.
But conversely, NXT is damn near unwatchable to me because the audience was such a huge part of that show.
Right.
That like now it's just not the same product to me. And like I jokingly said with Impact, or they can't have fans, what's going to change, right? But but you do notice it. I feel like they need to get that show back in front of people. It would just give a whole new life, a whole new energy to the show. And again, if people are going to go out anyway, then you might as well get a wrestling ticket up out of them. You know what I'm saying?
My son and I went to the movies the other day. We were the only ones in that theater, which I suspected was a possibility. But you get in there and every other seat is taped off.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Every seat is taped off, but one has tape saying remove. And that means sit here. And then there's taped do not sit here.
Okay.
And everything's social distanced. And you know what I mean? So there's a way to do it. I mean, there's really... I can understand being cautious, but 100% empty arenas at this point, like you can get some people in there.
Yeah. I feel like they need to find a way, but they got to find a way to make it, again, it's got to be worth their while. You know what I mean? It's got to be worth their while. I miss. We were talking the other day. Like I miss the shows being, Damn it, it had come to me before, the casinos in Pennsylvania that they were at. You know
Yeah,
what
someone told me today, actually. It was
yes.
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Yes, Bethlehem. Yes,
Yeah.
whether it's Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, or again, like I said, I know it's like prohibitively expensive to tape in New York City, but I enjoyed those shows. I was actually at the show where they did they did like a Lethal Lockdown show, and Rockstar Spud jumped off the top of the cage. Like I was
Those show. Dude, I thought you meant the Melrose Ballrooms or.
Oh, I went to those too. I went to the Melrose Ballroom.
I got
no,
I
no,
don't
no.
mean Melrose.
Bound for Glory. I went to that one.
Okay.
But when I went for Bound for Glory, it was ridiculously like over. So the Melrose Ballroom was tiny. Okay, there was probably, oh my God, there's probably 100, maybe 150 seats on the floor around the ring, 150, maybe 200 seats on the floor around the ring. Then there were bleachers, right? Like standing room bleachers. I got like a standing room seat, but those bleachers were so overpacked. So they oversold it by so much, which on one hand I kind of don't blame, but the experience for me was terrible. I'm a big person, so to be packed into a bleachers, you know what I mean, like shoulder to shoulder with musty wrestling fans was not fun. So I will never go there for another wrestling show in my life. But yeah, I mean, like, just they gotta find some way to get the show back in front of people, man. Like, I'm actually like longing to go. I might go back and watch one of those old Bound for Glory or something, just so I can see the show with people in front of it.
Seriously.
So,
we're going on like 2 hours here. It's just against everything we
I know
try to do.
We were like, "This is gonna be a quick show. It's late."
Yeah. But so I was gonna say, I went to Bound for Glory last year. My seat didn't even exist on the floor. So
really,
like you have the entrance where the ramp where they come down. I was the last row. If you're looking at the entrance ramp on the right hand side.
I
was the last row 8, I think. I get there, and there are 7 rows of seats, and I see a couple people standing, and I get over there. I'm like, "What's up with the seats?" They're like, "They didn't put an 8th row down."
Wow.
And he's like, he told me to go sit in the bleachers, and I was like, and this guy's telling me, he's like, "I'm not going to sit in the bleachers. I paid to sit up here."
Right.
So he kind of raised the stink. I didn't have to do it myself. So I don't remember where they found seats for him at, but they put me. The seats weren't as good, but I was still pretty close. Okay. I was sitting in the section where the guests sit.
Okay.
Say like Moose is has a family member coming, and they're comped the tickets. You know what I mean? I sat there.
Nice.
And was pretty happy with it. So it sufficed. But
it looked like there was a pretty good crowd at that show.
Yeah, it was. There's a lot of Impact fans who are like, "There's 5,000 people." There was not 5,000 people at that place. I mean, I got in this fight on Facebook with someone. He's like, I said, "I was there, dude. There was not 5,000 people." He goes, "Look on Wikipedia. It says 5,000." I said, "That's the capacity of the building. Like, it's not." I was like, there was probably 2,000 people. There was a good crowd. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's no way it was over 2,500. I would say it was 2,000.
2,500 paid fans for Impact Wrestling. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
But that shit was not 5,000. People were like, "Oh, they." I was there. I'm telling you, It wasn't 5,000. There was empty seats. I'm not saying empty. But there were empty seats there. Not a whole shitload. I'm saying, but I mean, my God.
Yeah,
we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, we got to wrap this up. What are you? What, if anything, are you looking forward to coming up this week?
With this episode?
Yeah,
just these other matches. They announced Kylie and Deanna tonight. Mm-hmm. just the rest of the card. Like, let's know what we know what the card's gonna be, but I mean, put it out there. Like, that's just what I want to see.
Yeah.
Victory Road behind us, so
Yeah.
Go all in on Bound for Glory next couple weeks.
Yeah, I want to, I think that's a good talking point right there. Like, what's the next I want to see what's the next step in this Moose EC3 thing, right? Like, we know this is coming. We know Rich Swan and Eric Young is coming. The tag teams feels like, it feels like they're almost treating them like X Division, where it's like, we know you guys can wrestle good matches. We're just going to throw you out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's something. What's your current thoughts on Ethan Page? Staying, leaving? You think they'll do the right thing? No, I never do.
I don't think they will.
Yeah.
They should. It seemed like Good Brothers show up, Motor City Machine Guns show up, and again, like our Impact guys taking a back seat.
Yeah.
So I think he wants to return. He seems to be saying that it's his preference is to return, but history has showed that he's not going to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Like, it's crazy. Like, in my head, I'm envisioning this show getting back in front of fans and that North music hit and people go, ah! People losing their shit for Air Guys. Give us Air Guys. So, yes. But, oh, yeah, man. That's it. I think I'm about ready to tap out tonight. Ken Shamrock got me in the ankle lock.
All right. Fair enough. If you guys made it to this point of the show, thank you. And we will talk to you guys next week and hopefully cut this about in half. But sometimes we get good convo going. Can't help it. So we will talk to you guys soon. We're out. Peace.
Yeah.